Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today we are taking a look at none other than Mars Toys' prank villain, aka Cesar Remero's Joker, based off his appearance in the classic Batman TV series, starring Adam West and Burt Ward as the dynamic duo. Now, Mars Toys did send me this production sample for review. Massive thank you goes out to them. Don't forget though, this is an unlicensed unofficial figure. This is not a promotional video. This is a review on a figure that's going in my collection after this review. While you're down in the description though, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, it works perfectly for Joker. It's very pink, but that's his color scheme in the show and the movie. We do have an image of Cesar Remero as the Clown Prince of Crime front and center. Up top, Mars Toys MAT013A, because there are multiple different versions. And in the background, a bunch of onomatopoeia. Joker's crazy laughing. Then down below, prank villain. On the side of the box, they kept it pretty simple. 1/6 scale collectible figure. I dig that retro style font in green, and of course a lot more pink. On the back of the box, more pink once again, plus a couple of images of Joker in different poses with 2 different head sculpts. And spoiler alert, this guy comes with 3 different head sculpts. Down below, green, and also some warnings and legal info. Can I just say though, Mars Toys, y'all are doing the figure lord's work, because Hot Toys, they teased Joker, and they never delivered. Maybe they couldn't get the likeness rights for Cesar Remero, and that could be potentially why an unlicensed company had to do this. Nevertheless, I'm just glad we finally have a Joker. Oh man, that is nostalgia right there. Now you may be sitting there thinking, Justin, what are you talking about? Why are you excited? How is this even nostalgic for you? You're far too young to have even seen the show. Well, incorrect, my friend. I actually have seen the show. I have really fond memories as a young lad sitting down and absolutely loving this classic Batman TV series. Because my dad loved it, so whenever I got to see my dad, we sat down and we watched the show together. So when Mars Toys announced this guy and teased Penguin and a Riddler and their own versions of Batman and Robin, I was all the way in. And first in-hand impressions of the Joker, surprisingly, this body's pretty heavy and I totally wasn't expecting that. He feels pretty substantial. What we are going to do now though is get all of his accessories, and there are quite a few of them, laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first. Now it's a much more modern shape as compared to the oval style base we got with Batman and Robin from Hot Toys, and normally that would bother me, that would drive me crazy, but Mars Toys, they're making their own versions of Batman and Robin, and I'm pretty sure they'll be coming with these style bases, so everything should be nice and matching. Up top, the classic Batman TV series logo on a pink background. Of course, it'll match Joker. Then up front, Joker on an etched metal nameplate. Up top, a regular crotch grabber. This is a really unique accessory, and no, it's not missing the picture. It's supposed to be an empty picture frame, because when you pose Joker with it, he becomes the picture. You'll see what I mean a little bit later. There's some very intricate sculpt work around the edges, only on one side, the other is flat, and it's painted in this shiny metallic gold. No complaints with the picture frame. You do get some interchangeable outfit options, some very stylish board shorts, and a mask. Will the mask actually hide Joker's identity? Well, we will find out when we put it on him. Now, the mask is made of this kind of velvety-like pink fabric, and there's some elastic around the back, so, you can stretch it over his head sculpt. Now, the board shorts are this kind of starchy feeling material. They almost feel like how real board shorts do. The print, super colourful. This paisley print, it's probably in fashion nowadays, but back in the day, Joker was ahead of his time, because that's more something the psychedelic pattern and color scheme that you'd see in the 70s, and Joker, he's from the classic Batman 66 TV series and movie, so like I said, ahead of his time. Now you do get a bouquet of flowers, there's a metal sort of twined up rod down below that he grips onto, and up the top, the flowers are paper. We've got some pink ones, some red ones, some blue ones, and some yellow ones as well. super colourful, just like the board shorts. This is technically more so an accessory from the 66 movie rather than the show. It's the Total Dehydrator, the Big Ben Distillery. If you're wondering what this thing does, well, it's worth actually watching the movie if you don't already know, but it's a repurposed Electrolux vacuum cleaner. That was the prop that this thing was based off, and they turned it into the Total Dehydrator. There's a clip of Joker going around and dehydrating the World Security Council. He wears that mask, he zaps them, some knots come out, and the Security Council, they get totally dehydrated. What does that actually mean? Just watch the film. Now, the sculpt work on this thing is pretty good. It's relatively soft, but the paint applications, they're beautiful. This metallic blue, the metallic orange that picks up the lighter treat, and down below, a proper rubbery hose that's nice and flexible. Plus, if you want the schnozzle to be on the other side, you can just rotate the hose around and there, you've got that done. Now, there are some straps so he can actually wear this, and of course, I'll show you what that looks like. My favorite detail, though, is the clear canister with the spring inside. That looks so freaking awesome. Accessories and weapons, they are really important, don't get me wrong. They need to be done to a really high standard, but one thing that can truly make or break a figure, in this instance, 3 things. The head sculpt, it needs to be good. And Mars toys? Holy shit, dude, these head sculpts are insane. Now, let's start off with the zaniest head sculpt first. His mouth is open, he's shocked, or he's just emoting. There's a ton of skin texture and wrinkling, and what's this? A moustache? Yeah, it absolutely is. For those of you who don't know, Cesar Remero, he wanted to play the role, but only if he kept his moustache. So he did, and they painted the white face paint right over the top of it, and it's here. It's not only sculpted, but there's a wash in the crevices of the moustache, so you can see it just a little bit more. But that skin texture, I can't get over how good it looks. There's crow's feet, there's wrinkling for the forehead, and I mean, those eyebrows, those painted lines are super fine. And then the eyes, they're so expressive, they're wide open and super glossy. But we haven't even discussed the hair. Now, there's a seam line, it is visible, but honestly, on display from the front, that hair looks super natural, and the color, it looks on point. Now, it could have been a touch lighter, but going a little bit darker doesn't really bother me. Now, he does come with multiple other expressions. This one, more of an evil grin. I mean, look at the way this dude looks. Plus, those teeth, they're kinda yellow and nice and glossy. Then the third option, this one. Yes, he's smiling. Yes, it's similar to the one on the right, but his eyes are looking down, and that makes him look even creepier. I cannot wait to try out all 3 head sculpts on the body. But weigh in down below. Which of the 3 do you prefer? And lastly, a full array of hands. And we get so many gestures, plus thumbs up hands. Thanks for the reminder, Joker. If you're enjoying the review so far, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Now we get pointing finger hands and splayed open finger hands and trigger finger hands and closed fists. Like I said, a full array. As for the sculpt work, impressive. We've got these lines on the back, some wrinkling sculpted in, a super fine texture, and around the inside, we even have a little pop of skin tone, and yes, it's on every single hand. Plus, they're nice and flexible, and we'll discuss what that means later on. What we are going to do now, though, is get the Joker himself out here, standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Now, I am trying not to make this a gush fest, but so far I've kind of failed. I've told you how much I love the head sculpts and the accessories and the artwork and the whole idea of the figure actually existing, but I will try and just talk about him solely from a technical perspective for this shot. The body, proportions, insanely real. The outfit is beautifully tailored and the color is perfect. It's super saturated and he is absolutely going to stand out in the display. Plus you get multiple head sculpts. The one that he's wearing currently is the more neutral of the 3, if there was a neutral one. It's not exactly how I describe this, but let's just roll with it. It looks like Cesar Remero, and even from a distance, everything looks properly in proportion. Up close and personal, kicking things off with one of Joker's head sculpts. We do have 3 to look at on the body, but this is the more neutral of the 3. It's still not entirely neutral though, because look at that big Joker smile. I also have him wearing his little domino mask, but he's not really hiding anything. I mean, he's a dude in a green and pink suit with green hair and red lipstick. You know exactly who this is supposed to be. It's the Joker, even with the mask on. Now, the mask is felt and you do have some elastic around the back, but his hair is fully sculpted, so unlike real hair where it would kind of conform and be scrunched in by the mask, it doesn't happen, because sculpted plastic can't do that. So for me, I'm going with mask off in my display. You'll already know, I've gushed about these head sculpts, they are truly next level. I mean, Mars Toys, you'll have outdone yourselves. And on the body, it only looks even better. Everything fits in proportion, his neck isn't too short, and it's not too long either. Now this is one of the head sculpts, like I said, let's try one of the other ones. Okay, I'm having a really tough time deciding which one I'm going to go with in my display, so please help me out down below, because this head sculpt is super strong on the body too. I mean, that expression is just so classic Cesar Remero Joker. The arched eyebrows, he's looking down towards you, and that grin is evil, but also comical and whimsical at the same time. This dude, he knew how to play Joker. Even though the show, yes, was a little bit campy. Now that I have switched out the head sculpt though, how does it work? Is it tricky? It's a little bit tricky, but not overly so. Now the collar, as you can see, there's a little bit of wrinkling to it because it does tend to bunch up because it sits really tight around the bottom of the head sculpt. Now, having it sit nice and tight around the neck is a good thing because it doesn't ride up and down when you get to posing, but still, get yourself some plastic tweezers, sit down, take your time and slide the head sculpt through the collar first, then push it down and connect it properly to the body. Because if you do that, you won't have the issue where the collar gets sandwiched underneath the neck and caught in between the neck connector and the body itself. Super annoying when that happens. Now the third head sculpt option is absolutely the most playful of the three. There is so much personality here. I know I've said that about the other two head sculpts at length now, but I just can't get over how good these head sculpts are. I mean, in the right pose, it just tells a story, and that's what collecting these 1/6 scale figures is all about. You can do your poses, you can create your scenes, and pretty much bring these guys and gals to life. Maybe I am gushing too hard, maybe my bias is getting the better of me, and for that I'm sorry, but still, this guy, he is truly that impressive. If you have this guy on the way, you have a ton of reason to be very excited. Now, around the back, not much to look at, except for some very flamboyant coattails. We have some buttons sewn in. Now, they don't actually connect up to anything, but looks accurate to the jacket. I did check some references before filming this segment. There is some padding up the top for the shoulders, so he's bulked out where he needs to be. And the sleeves, they're pretty much at the perfect length, plus some actual metal buttons for the bottom of the sleeves. Back around the front, two things to note before we get to the tailoring. Number one, the choice of body. Now, Mars Toys, I don't know if this is a custom body or if it's an off-the-shelf body and all the padding in the outfit is doing all the heavy lifting, but whatever the heck y'all have done, I dig it. It literally looks like a dude shrunk down to 1/6 scale. The proportions are that good. And proportions, they're a big deal. More often than not with older figures, the proportions were way out of whack and the tailoring was big and boofy, but with this guy, it's a non-issue. Number two, look how flush his arms can go down by his sides. All that stuff I mentioned about proportions and padding, it applies here too, because sometimes with third-party figures, the suits are super bulky and there's a bunch of excess plastic under the arms, so their arms stick out like this. But with this guy, totally a non-issue. They go completely flush down by his sides. Another tick from me. Okay, tailoring time. This jacket is tailored to perfection. Now the lapels do stick out a little, but it's not too crazy. Plus, it's Joker. Who cares if the lapels stick out? It perfectly suits his zany look. We do have some faux buttons around the front, and look how thin this jacket is. Now it's not wired, but it is lined on the inside with some lighter pink, and it is for the coattails down the bottom as well. He does have a three-piece suit on, so you do have a vest, some press studs poking out. I kind of wish they were tucked in a little bit further, but on display, just standing there, they fall into the natural shadows of that seam anyway, so not a huge deal. Then his green shirt has multiple pleats sewn in, and he does have this multi-paneled black tie. Now, one other thing that I do want to mention is that you can see a little bit of the green poking out for the shirt cuff. Love that. And his gloves, they are super soft and flexible, so switching out the hands is actually really easy. It seems like not a huge deal, but having the hands be softer, it has a knock-on effect and multiple other benefits. Number one, you don't need a hairdryer to switch out the hands, which is so frustrating. I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting down, doing a review, having a great time, doing posing, and oh no, the hand won't come off. It's stuck on, it's locked in position. If I pull it off, I'm going to break a wrist peg. Just not my idea of fun. So switching them out with softer hands, one of the benefits. The other, getting accessories in their hands. It just makes this so much easier. So Joker holding onto the nozzle for the total dehydrator, a total non-issue. I am so sorry. Now around the back, the dehydrator is sitting on his back kinda low. But that works for me, because this thing in real life, it would be pretty heavy, so it would tend to sag down. And it does in 1/6 scale as well, because these straps, they're a little bit looser, and they're non-adjustable. Now, I would have loved a magnet in his back to lock this in position, because when you get to posing, it does tend to fidget around, so I would suggest dial in the pose first, then adjust the Big Ben Distillery Total Dehydrator later. Up top, I do also have him wearing the mask, so yes, it is compatible with multiple different head sculpts. You do get 3 of them, like I've already mentioned. But I know you all know that. Now, to take off the total dehydrator, or to put it on, it works in the exact same way. You bring his arms backwards on both sides, and you literally slide it off. To pop it on, you do the reverse. You slide it over the arms so it sits on his back. Coming down to his suit pants. Notice the distinction there? I said suit pants, because we do have to pop his other pants on, his board shorts, and we will get there, because I really want to see them on him. Now, the color match between the vest and the jacket and the pants, all on point. The pinks, they're consistent. He does have pinstripes running the length of his trousers, and check out the pinstripes. They're different widths. We've got thinner ones and we've got thicker ones. This kind of craziness you wouldn't see in the suiting world, but for Joker, oh yes, I can absolutely see him wearing pants like this. In fact, he did, in the classic Batman show. Now, you do have some pleats ironed in around the front. The material's nice and soft. There's a little bit of room for posing. He also has some green socks underneath the pants, and the shoes, they look good. There's some leather green texture on the surface, and check out the bar lacing. Very classy, Joker. On the underside, some sculpted in tread. Like I said though, the board shorts, let's give it a go. Damn, Joker, check out the drip on you, my friend. I mean, only Joker could pull off board shorts over the top of suit pants whilst wearing a 3-piece suit. Now, he may not actually be pulling it off as much as he thinks he is, but it's accurate to the show. Plus, Mars Toys, they do have an upcoming accessory specifically for this outfit, a surfboard with a wave diorama display base. So when we do eventually get that, yes, I'll pop this outfit back together, we'll pop him on the surfboard and see what that looks like. But for now, seeing as though we don't have the surfboard to add context to the boardies, I'm pretty sure that me, along with a lot of y'all, we're not going to go with the boardies in the collection. Very quickly, before we move on, by the way, please let me know if you like these tips and tricks, if they're handy or not very handy at all. Now, I have just removed the board shorts, and look at all this. There's a whole bunch of excess fabric above his shoes. It looks terrible, very poorly tailored. But they're not poorly tailored. You all know that, because you've seen them as form-fitting as they're supposed to be. How do we get back there? Well, pretty simple, actually. First of all, undo the vest. It's on a press stud, which we've already discussed. Then literally just hike his pants up. And it doesn't really matter that he looks like Harry High Pants, because this look is from the 60s. He's supposed to look like that, and you can hide it under the vest anyway. So once you've adjusted the pants, front and back, you've pulled them up. Look at that, back to perfect tailoring. Now, you will still have to do a little bit of futzing, but it looks a darn sight better than it did when we just took the board shorts off, and with some simple adjustments like pulling the pants up underneath the vest, pretty straightforward to do. For a quick side-by-side comparison, this is the shot. If there ever was a shot that kept me awake at night, staring at my bedroom ceiling, thinking about, just daydreaming about putting together for a review, this would be that shot. But it ain't a daydream any longer, it's reality, and these 3, they look stellar stellar standing together. Now the scaling, I think, is pretty accurate. I mean, Adam West is 6'2", or he was, RIP, and Cesar Remero, he was 6'3". So Batman being a touch shorter checks that scaling box. Plus Burt Ward, he's supposed to be a young lad playing Dick Grayson as Robin, so being even shorter than the other two, once again, yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Now, Mars Toys is making their own versions of the Cape Crusaders, so will the scaling be accurate? I would hazard a guess that it would be, because they made this Joker too, but we will have to wait and see. Going over articulation, it's a regular True Type body in a very finely tailored three-piece suit, so you should pretty much know what to expect here. Starting off with the head sculpt, a ball joint at the bottom with a fixed neck, looking forward and back, swivel and pivot. The arms will go up to there, they will go forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down, swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going the full way, plus a hinge and swivel for the wrist peg. The torso does crunch forward and back. There is a little bit of padding, but not too much. Swivel and pivot. The legs will go forward to there, no padding whatsoever, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, ratcheted double bend at the knee, that's very clickety, a double ball peg for the ankle, good for forward and back swivel, and also some ankle tilt. Wrapping up on Mars Toys Prank Villain. Mars Toys, well done. I can't really fault it. Now, there are a couple of little things here and there that, okay, could have been changed and adjusted, like the press studs and how difficult it is to switch out the head sculpts because the collar is really tight, but those are so freaking minor in the grand scheme of things. This figure is incredible. I've gushed about figures in the past, but this might now be one of my top 5 figures in the collection. Not just top 5 third-party figures, but top 5 figures ever. I do have a personal connection to this version of the character, but even from a technical perspective, he is that good. The body choice with the stunning proportions, the outfit that's beautifully tailored for that body, the accessory count, and the quality of those accessories, plus the icing on the cake, 3 different head sculpts with 3 really out there expressions. They bring so much personality to this figure. So if you're sitting here trying to decide, ooh, do I, don't I, is this one for me? I love 66 Batman, but maybe another company will make their version of the Joker. No, quit that. Get this one. You are going to be so freaking happy. Now, I said at the start of the video that this isn't a promotional video, and it still isn't, even though I know how that sounds, given that I literally just said, go out and buy it, it's the best thing ever, because for a 66 Batman fan who loves the Joker, it is. Now, if you are heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.